Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Welcome to Accelerated Health Radio on W4HC Radio, where you can learn to accelerate your body, mind, and spirit to reclaim the true potential that exists within you through cutting-edge wellness, tools, and modalities. Here's your host, Sara Banta.
Welcome to Accelerated Health Radio on W4HC and W4CS. I'm your host, Sara Banta. I'm a health coach, natural supplement expert, and busy mom of 3 teenagers. And for those of you joining us for the first time today, I graduated from Stanford as well as the Institute for Integrative Nutrition and the Invincible Wellness System. And as I was on my own journey and hitting rock bottom with hormonal issues, thyroid issues, no digestion, and on the verge of Crohn's disease, I was introduced to holistic modalities, supplements, nutritional, and cutting-edge technologies that heal the body. And partially through my journey, my 9-year-old son at the time was diagnosed with leukemia. I'd been introduced to a supplement called Accelerated Silver, which you can find at acceleratedhealthproducts.com, that I started giving to him in addition to cleaning up his diet. And within a year, not only were the cancer cells gone, but the anemia and other nutritional deficiencies he had disappeared. He's now 17, never missed a day of school from the cold or flu in the last 8 years, and he's a national record holder for crew. He's been my inspiration to stay on top of the cutting edge modalities and supplements that go after curing the incurable and helping my clients live their most optimal lives in body, mind, and spirit. I truly believe that your body does want to and is capable of rebuilding and healing itself, regardless of what chronic diseases you may have. And I'm here to answer your questions, bring you innovative and cutting-edge technologies and health solutions to empower you to be able to reach your optimal state of health. So before I introduce my guest, who you will not want to miss, I want to talk about the myths and the facts surrounding the coronavirus and my top 10 ways to boost the immune system. And then we're going to dive deep into the myths about the coronavirus with our guest. But first, hand sanitizers, they're sold out. Face masks, nowhere to be found. Every channel on the television is reporting that new cases in the U.S. and creating a heightened sense of fear. Fear porn, as some are referring to it. And is it connected to 5G? Did it come from a bat, or was it part of biological warfare? Are the cases in the thousands or the millions? What is the virus? Was it created to control the population? These are the questions we will dive into, but for the moment, I want to focus on what we do know. This is a virus. It will spread around the world like all viruses. As viruses go through society, we're all exposed, our bodies will adapt, and just how they have in the past, they'll disappear, just like the Spanish plague and SARS. Some people will die if they have a weakened immune system. And most people will have minor symptoms such as a cough. So this is an RNA virus, meaning it has to use your own RNA to replicate. So as you sneeze on someone, it has to then use their RNA to replicate. And as it continues to spread, the virus will get weaker. No children in the U.S. have died from the coronavirus yet, and the mortality rate is significantly lower than the common flu. The coronavirus pneumonia gives a dry cough with a runny nose. So this is the easiest way to identify it. The virus is not heat resistant, and it dies at a temperature of 80.6 degrees Fahrenheit. That's why it likes to find its way into the lower lungs where it's cooler. Therefore, if you drink more hot water, expose yourself to the sun using far infrared sauna therapy, those things will help kill the virus. And the symptoms of the virus, they'll start in the throat, and you'll feel like you have a dry sore throat that will last for 3 to 4 days. The virus will fuse with the nasal fluid and drip into the trachea and enter the lungs, causing pneumonia. And this will take about 5 to 6 days. There will be a stage with pneumonia, high fever, and breathing difficulties. Do not take Tylenol and things to lower your fever, because that fever is what's killing it. Nasal congestion is not like normal nasal congestion. You'll feel like you're drowning in water. And when the virus falls on surfaces of metal, it will live for at least 12 hours. So if you come in contact with that type of surface, wash your hands thoroughly. And the virus can remain active in tissue for 6 to 12 hours. So normal laundry detergent should kill the virus. And the virus can only live in your hands for 5 to 10 minutes. But most people rub their eyes or face within that short period of time. And that's the most common way to contract the virus. So accelerated silver is selling quickly. And my email is flooded with what should I do if the coronavirus comes here? Does accelerated silver kill the virus? So let's go back to hand sanitizers. They used 28 ingredients that were banned a few months ago. Whoa. So they weren't doing what they said they were, and they were harming the skin. So now the main ingredient in them is just alcohol. And as a result, you're just buying alcohol to rub into your skin, and it's going to get your skin dry and damaged. They were banned by the FDA because they weren't actually killing the pathogens like they claimed. And furthermore, they were toxic chemicals that were causing damage to the DNA level. And the face masks, well, they protect everyone else from you if you have the virus, but really they could be making it worse for you. Their main purpose is to keep you from touching your face, which is the quickest way to get sick. So saying all of that, what are my top 10 tips to fight the coronavirus and boost your immune system? Because boosting your immune system is the #1 defense against the coronavirus. And these are just my top 10 tips. Accelerated silver is #1. Silver has been known for thousands of years to kill all known foreign pathogens, including viruses in the coronavirus family. I recommend taking 2 teaspoons 4 to 5 times a day. You can use it to spray on surfaces to kill pathogens. You can spray it up your nose to prevent the pathogens from finding their way up your nose into your system, and putting 1 to 2 drops in your ears to prevent your ears from being the gateway to your system, and gargling with it for a sore throat. #2, My Vital C. This has been shown to reverse aging and double your lifespan. This is not vitamin C. It's carbon 60, but it is 172 times more powerful than vitamin C, more powerful than glutathione, the master antioxidant, CoQ10, and SOD. As it relates to the coronavirus, it suppresses the cytokine storm that typically occurs as a result of the virus. China has been dosing their patients with large doses of vitamin C to prevent this action from occurring in their patients. And knowing that My Vital C is 172 times stronger, it helps with this action as well. #3, Oxalate. Boosting your vitamins, electrolytes, and minerals is imperative for a strong immune system. Oxalate is not only has all of those, including additional amino acids, but it's 100% bioavailable. And as you're drinking oxalate, you're also hydrating your body, which is imperative for a strong immune system. #4, Restore. This is a supplement that heals leaky gut. 80% of the immune system is in your gut, and most Americans suffer from leaky gut, which is caused by ingesting the standard American diet, toxins, gluten, radiation, medications, and vaccines. If your gut is less than optimal, then your immune system is suppressed, and you will be more susceptible to contracting viruses like the coronavirus. #5, Acceleradine iodine. Not only does Acceleradine improve your metabolism and thyroid health, rid your body of radiation, and lift that brain fog that most people have, but it is also known to kill viruses, parasites, and bacteria. It is essential for a strong immune system. #6, the AMP Coil PEM device. This gives you your true power back over your family's health. It's an at-home device that contains programs to boost the immune system through frequencies, cancel out the frequencies of specific viruses and bacteria, in addition to parasites, fungus, and so much more. And through the Tesla technology, voice technology, it can identify in your specific body what is out of balance and what specific foreign pathogens may be causing your health issues or sickness. Then it creates a program or a journey to cancel out those negative frequencies and bring your body back to health. Number 7, a low-carb ketogenic diet. Unfortunately, the truth is sugar and carbs inflame the body and suppress the immune system. And you can use the accelerated keto, which is brand new, to switch easily to the low-carb diet and kill your sugar cravings. With accelerated keto and a low-carb diet, you'll reduce inflammation throughout the body, increase autophagy, which is where your body cleans up the disease cells and recycles protein and boosts the immune system. So Jason, that is the perfect keto you're showing. So it's the accelerated keto, which is a capsule form, and it has a whole bunch of synergistic herbs that work with ketones to make it even more effective than any other ketone supplement. Number 8 is sleep. With a lack of sleep, your cortisol or stress hormone rises, and that automatically will suppress the immune system. Sleep is your most important key to improving your immune system. Number 9, vitamin D. Vitamin D is not just a vitamin, but it actually is a hormone that is responsible for many immune-related actions in the body, and it's been shown to lower inflammation, lower insulin, and lower stress, 3 main causes of suppressing the immune system. And this is the reason that viruses like the coronavirus typically peter out in the spring and summers, because there's more vitamin D. Lastly, reduce your fear. Fear is stressful. Stress lowers the immune system quicker than any other factor. Try meditation, turn off the news, be smart about your activities and actions, and stay away from crowds and relax. So we're going to take a quick, short commercial break and be right back with Jason Goodman from Crowdsource The Truth and talk about the myths and all the other factors surrounding the coronavirus.
To optimize your physical, mental, and emotional health, visit www.acceleratedhealthproducts.com. Accelerated Health Products to detox, reset, and rebuild your immune system naturally, and to accelerate your body, mind, and spirit with cutting-edge supplements and solutions. Get Sara Banta's personal advice on a protocol just right for you. That's www.acceleratedhealthproducts.com.
And we're back. I'm so excited for today. Jason Goodman, he's an internationally acclaimed filmmaker and stereoscopic cinematographer. After leaving Hollywood, Jason began a new career in the field of independent journalism and created Crowdsource The Truth. Just as Jason transformed the 3D motion picture production industry, Crowdsource The Truth turns the page on traditional journalism by combining it with powerful interaction of social media and reality TV. He has created an engaging series that informs and entertains the audience while simultaneously involving each member of the viewing public in the investigations themselves, demanding the truth in media and integrity, which is so rare these days in government. Crowdsource The Truth is a viewer-sponsored news source that goes places and asks questions that corporate-controlled, advertiser-driven traditional media simply cannot go. Jason, welcome. How are you this morning?
I'm very well, Sarah, and thanks for having me back on the show. It's wonderful to be here with you. So many people are concerned about this coronavirus, and we're actually simulcasting right now on Crowdsource The Truth, so people can actually watch us on YouTube and Periscope and Facebook and all over the place.
Yes, and please ask your questions. Send them through the chat on the radio show or through Jason's channel. We would love to answer your questions. But your job, oh my goodness, is in such demand now with so much chaos and fake news out there. Why don't you quickly first tell everybody what you do if they haven't heard our first interview, which you can find at iHeartRadio and all the other podcast platforms under Accelerated Health Radio Episode 2, and also under Jason's channel, Crowdsource The Truth. I think it was back in October or November that we recorded.
Yeah. We've done a few interviews actually, and when you were talking about the AMP coil earlier, I was reminded that it's actually been tested on me. So I
Yes.
use many of these accelerated health products, and I wanted to speak to you, Sarah, because your approach is very different. We've been hearing a lot from doctors, from people at the CDC and the National Institute of Health and things like that. But when I look back historically at the CDC and I think about things I've learned from watching movies like Vaxxed, that great film produced by Del Bigtree, the people who work at the CDC are very much involved in this government corporate revolving door where one of the directors of the CDC who actively suppressed information about a CDC study that indicated that a particular vaccine was causing a particular problem, that information was suppressed. The woman then went on to get a $5 million job at Merck, the pharmaceutical company that was producing that vaccine. So we laugh at these things and they seem like, oh, this is politics as usual. But Sarah, I have to say, what we're seeing right now, in my opinion, is an unprecedented escalation of fear and this fomenting of just pure anxiety by the news, by industry. And we start to look around at who owns these pharmaceutical companies, who invests in the development of these vaccines, who hides behind these supposedly philanthropic organizations and foundations that are just giving out these vaccines. Isn't that so nice of them, Sarah? They get your free flu shot for the elderly and for the people who maybe are financially less capable. When you see free flu shot and you've been bombarded by the news about how dangerous a particular thing might be, you're going to go get that free shot. But I would offer that it's not free. Someone is paying for it. Some pharmaceutical company has lobbied the state government, the local government to provide, some grant so that someone's paying that pharmaceutical company to give out these vaccines. And I have no doubt, Sarah, that a coronavirus vaccine is coming and it's going to be forced on people, whether it works or not. Someone's going to make billions of dollars from that.
Yeah, and so in the 1980s, they made it so that you cannot sue any pharmaceutical for vaccines. Vaccines is the number one drug that makes these pharmaceutical companies money. All of the other drugs, they can get sued on. So why do you think these kids are getting 96 vaccines before kindergarten? It's unreal. And they are fast tracking a vaccine for the coronavirus. They're testing it on 46 people. 46 people. They're fast tracking it. And so you're not going to see the side effects of this, the rates of autoimmune disease going up for another couple of years. But then there's going to be a huge population with autoimmune or other side effects from this vaccine, and the virus will be gone by then. And the virus is just doing its normal course that all viruses do. There's a peak, and then then everyone gets immune to it just by being around it or contracting it, and it goes away. And it just does its course. But this is what happens with all vaccines. And if you really dive deep into the history of some of the vaccines, it is actually some vaccines, over whether it was polio or even measles, some of the cases of these diseases or the rise of the cases were caused by the vaccine itself. But even that, it's just the fear behind this. And I understand if you're elderly or if your immune suppressed system is going to suffer from this virus and you're at risk, there is a reason to be fearful. But for the stock market to do what it's doing, for people to be going to Costco and buying, so much paper towels and toilet paper and just stocking up on cases and cases of water. Is that necessary? I don't think so. Is it necessary maybe to avoid going to restaurants? Maybe, that might be smart. But like I said in the beginning of the show, there's ways to boost your immune system. And if you boost your immune system, you're going to be fine. And there's no reason to have an overblown amount of fear.
No, certainly not. And I really appreciate what you're saying, Sarah. I mean, we're doing a simulcast right now on Crowdsource the Truth, where I've named our show Common Sense Advice, because we're not going to sit here and tell people to ignore what's being said. But it's important to me that people apply a great deal of scrutiny to what they're being told by anybody, including us. And when the news, for me, each day I'm waking up and there's just more and more intense fear-mongering going on. We heard this morning that Angela Merkel, the Chancellor of Germany, is basically warning people that up to 70% of the entire population of Germany could become infected. Now, we've seen this unprecedented lockdown of Italy. It's truly stunning. I just want people to consider what's going on for countries like Germany and Italy right now, with the EU falling apart as England, the United Kingdom, Brexits. Some of these countries are very worried about their economic stability as a result of this, one world government that they've been forming that now seems to be at risk. And, certainly countries like Germany and Italy have an interest in keeping the EU together. And in my view, this is my opinion, this is a way of them exerting control over people. If everybody is afraid and in their home and just listening to what's being programmed into them by the news, you've got a very sort of placated population. France has had months of riots with the yellow vests. Very convenient now that even being out on the street in a public gathering is potentially something you could be arrested for in some of these countries. Seems like a remarkable way to either through the authority of police or just convincing people that they don't want to be in a large crowd. This is a good way to suppress this kind of thing. So, people will say I'm a conspiracy theorist for suggesting that, but I think people really need to consider what we've seen going on for the past 3 years. First, we had Robert Mueller conducting this investigation, which people should remember, this is a guy who didn't investigate 9/11 at all. When he was the director of the FBI, and someone, possibly Osama bin Laden, I don't think so, I think it was somebody else, they destroyed the World Trade Center. I didn't see the FBI down there combing through the debris, taking chemical samples, doing a scientific analysis of what happened. They just cleared that all away, sent the bin Laden family home on the only airplane that was allowed to fly that day, suppressed all the information, covered it up for years. That's the guy who was investigating Donald Trump and found nothing. Then when that didn't work, we had a bunch of lies made up. Adam Schiff lying to the American people and to Congress about what was said on a phone call by a president who was suggesting that we investigate corruption. So that impeachment failed. And now I think what we're seeing is this is not a Democratic conspiracy against Donald Trump. I honestly believe that for all of his flaws, Donald Trump is a monkey wrench in the system. People can say what they want about him, but I don't think he's part of the program that is resisting him this much. And when we think about the small number of people that control huge industry, you just talk about one man, Jeff Bezos, sits at the top of Amazon.com, which has reshaped retail shopping. I can tell you, Sarah, as I walk around New York City, if you were to rewind the clock 2 years, 5 years, the retail stores are closing. There are certain things you can no longer purchase in New York City. You must order them from the internet because these stores are closing. That one man, Jeff Bezos, has unprecedented control over retail, now owning Whole Foods. He also owns the Washington Post. If something comes out in the Washington Post that says, oh my God, coronavirus is dangerous, you better go buy hand sanitizer, that's going to blow up hand sanitizer sales.
Oh my gosh, last Friday, my friend called me and she said I went to 5 different markets and I couldn't find my hand sanitizer. She is captured by the fear. And yesterday, and she is working from home. Her husband's working from home. They're really nervous. And then I hang up that phone call. I call my other best friend, and she's flying to San Francisco tomorrow and thinks everyone's crazy. So you've got, you don't have anything in between. It's either you are totally buying into the fear or you are thinking it's all crazy. And I think there's a middle ground. Yes, you don't want to get sick, but at the same time, this fear-based mentality, it's whether it's through politics or health and virus, it is a way to control the population. And it's a way to, keep people from being spoken and from causing issues, whatever it is. And is it politically, is it the Democrats or the Republicans? I don't think it's one party or the other. I think it's the people that are above the political parties. But can you speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't get very involved in Democrats, Republicans. I think what we've got going on is a charade that's designed to keep people placated. I mean, we have a large number of news outlets that are constantly promoting things that when we really drill into them cannot possibly be true. So, I mean, I'm not saying that this is a lie, but this is along the lines of the fear-mongering that we're talking about. Here we got a story in the Daily Beast. Why someone would name a news outlet the Daily Beast, I don't know. To me, this beast is invoking images of satanic, like, why is it the Daily Beast? But this is telling us that most Americans will likely be exposed to coronavirus. Now, that sounds inflammatory if you are nervous about coronavirus, but as you said, we are exposed to all kinds of viruses and bacteria all day. The reason any of us are still alive is that we've got an immune system. And as you said earlier, Sara, you're not giving people medical advice. You're giving people common sense advice to stay healthy, boost their immune system, avoid alcohol, avoid sugary, fatty foods, processed foods, keep yourself healthy. And in most cases, your own immune system will be able to overcome any kind of virus that you might encounter. You know, another thing that we're hearing about from a news outlet a little closer to where you are there, the Los Angeles Times is reporting that the true number of U.S. coronavirus cases is far above the official tally, scientists say. Now, how do they know that, these scientists? And if they're telling us, another way to interpret this headline is that what we're being told about coronavirus doesn't reflect the facts. So what that means is, how do we know if anything they're telling us is true or factual? And where are they getting these numbers from? If they're admitting that it's inaccurate, what value is there in the information that they're sharing?
Exactly. And if the cases are much higher than what we know or what we're reporting, then that obviously means the death rate is lower than what they're reporting, because if there's more people that are exposed, but we know for sure how many people are dying from this disease. So then obviously the percentage of the mass population that is exposed is much less. And I wanted to come back to the immune system being your best defense, because with my access to my amp coil machine at home, and also my practitioner has used what's called the Skio machine, which we have talked about before, that is a device that really goes in and specifically can tell you what strand of flu or bacteria you may be fighting. It will come up on the amp coil that I'm fighting a virus or that I'm fighting certain bacteria, but I feel great. There's no fever, there's no symptoms, because it's showing that my body has been exposed to things and my immune system's taking care of it, and it's not actually being expressed. So that is proof that with a strong immune system, that's your best defense. Because if I had a weakened immune system, those viruses and bacteria that are showing up on the amp coil is going to take hold of my immune system and take me down with a fever and put me out of commission for a week or two. But that's not the case. And it's very interesting. I know that I'll be with someone that was sick. I'll come home, I'll test myself on the amp coil. It will actually show up, and I will feel fine.
I think I would correct just one thing slightly, Sara, and forgive me, but we have to be very careful in the words that we choose. I don't know that anything that happens to one particular individual as a result of utilizing a particular product, whether it be pharmaceutical or natural, is necessarily proof, but it's certainly evidence in your case.
Right.
And I appreciate your everything that you're saying there. So again, a lot of people are really worried about all the things that are going to happen and whether or not any individual is going to get sick from this particular virus. What we're seeing right now is so troubling to me because it's having just a remarkable impact on things like the stock market. We saw that Qantas is cutting routes. So if people want to go to Australia or doing business with Australia, Qantas operates huge Airbus A380 jets that carry passengers and cargo. They've cut 8 out of 12 of these jets. So worldwide capacity to and from Australia is dramatically reduced overnight. Lufthansa has cut all of its Airbus 380s. So that speaks to what Angela Merkel is saying in Germany. And it's just, again, part of this whole system that's promoting fear. If people have money in the stock market, and look, who is this targeting? We're saying that people who are older are in a high-risk demographic. No children in the United States have gotten this yet. So if you're over 70 and you're retired and you don't have a lot of income, you're relying on your savings. A lot of people have 401ks or retirement plans or things that are in the stock market. You're seeing the stock market go down. You're hearing about all these dangers to your health. It makes people freak out.
Yeah, exactly. Who is this going after? I mean, are they targeting just the elderly? I mean, and what is the purpose of doing that?
Well, again, I don't have any definitive answers. And to say they are going after someone, I don't really look at it in that way. We've spoken a lot on Crowdsource the Truth about some of the elements of evidence that people find perhaps more sinister. And I don't want to just, cling to a hypothesis and then run with that. I like to run these things down. We've spoken a lot on David Hawkins' Discovery CSI about this patent for coronavirus. Now, this is coming from the United States Patent and Trademark Office. I didn't create this. It's a patent for coronavirus. The patent is held by the Pirbright Institute, and it seems like, hey, here's somebody who's manufacturing coronavirus. What the hell is this all about? Pirbright Institute counts the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation as one of their primary beneficiaries, or they're giving them a ton of money. But in speaking to virologists and people who work in medical labs, they say it's not at all uncommon for companies to have patented versions of viruses that they're trying to study and understand. But at the same time, this means that there are companies and individuals, scientists, even janitors who work at these facilities who come in contact with these things, or animals who might be infected with these viruses that they're trying to test. And I've heard anecdotal tales of people even taking animals from these facilities and selling them either for food or as pets. So we don't know where that's going to go. But the fact that we've got genetically engineered versions of this virus at different facilities around the world, let's say someone evil, could be just one person wants to do this for no purpose other than they're crazy. Or perhaps they're paid $1 million by somebody who wants to tank the economy of China. And let's say there's a psychopath out there who doesn't care about China, or who thinks China is the enemy. Or how about, what if this is a new form of warfare? We know about guns and bombs and nuclear missiles and things like that. But I think everybody also knows that biological warfare is a field that governments around the world have been studying and developing forever. So in my view, the concept that A virus could be genetically developed. We've heard scientists tell us that there are markers in this version of the coronavirus, COVID-19, that indicate that it hasn't evolved in the organic way that viruses evolve, but rather it's been accelerated somehow, likely through genetic engineering, to give it certain properties that attack the immune system. I mean, certainly scientists can get in there and mess around with things to do things that the body maybe can't deal with that easily.
Yeah, that's I was listening to Judith on your show, Judith Very Baker, very interesting in her take on the virus and how it doesn't seem like it's natural. And she's hoping she's wrong, but that was very interesting in how, and of course, our immune systems are not equipped to take on this strand of the virus because it's brand new and we've never been exposed to it before, and that's why it's so contagious. But can you speak to what she was talking about as far as how it doesn't seem natural and it seems more like it came from a study lab?
Sure. And the interesting thing about Judith Very Baker is that she was a cancer researcher, something of a child prodigy as far back as the late 1950s and early 1960s. In high school, as a young science student, she developed a method for replicating cancer cells in laboratory test animals that was far superior to anything being done by any scientists anywhere in the world at the time. And you had scientists coming from Germany and cancer research centers all over the world, basically to see what this teenage science student was doing, and to try to figure out her methods. So this is not just some random person appearing on the internet. She's got a lot of experience in cancer research and virology. Judith was also pivotal in a project that she discovered was a CIA project to weaponize cancer. She also has a lot of knowledge about, that book, Dr. Mary's Monkeys, where they're talking about the development of the polio virus and how later it was found that a simian virus within the original polio live virus has created an epidemic in cancer around the world. These soft tissue cancers did not exist with such to the degree that it does now, prior to this SV40 virus. The vaccine for polio was originally derived from monkey, I believe, pancreas cells or something like that. And in some of these monkeys, the cells were contaminated with a virus that can cause cancer in humans. So this isn't spoken about very much. This is, medical information here on a website called, this is from the National Institute of Health, by the way. So this is a government document that's being published about this simian virus 40. This is not conspiracy theory made up stuff. But Judith's insights were very interesting to me because she was talking about it from the standpoint not just of a scientist and a virologist who's studied cancer, but someone who's very aware of these covert and clandestine biological weapons programs. And I'm very concerned that COVID-19 could be a biological weapon that's been unleashed on the citizens of the world. By who and for what purpose, I don't know.
It doesn't, I am with you. It's who's in control? Why is it happening? Is it big pharma? Is it the purpose to control the population? Is it related to 5G? That was one theory that many people talked about as far as it starting in Wuhan, because they have rolled out 5G, and did that play in a part in the suppressed immune system? Now, if anyone's been following me, they know that I am against 5G and the damage that it does to the body. It scrambles your DNA. When you're exposed to 5G, it's like being in a microwave at high for 17 minutes. It's going to destroy our bodies physically. And so did that compromise the people of the city's immune system so that they were even more susceptible to this virus, and that's why it spread so quickly.
Well, it's impossible for me to know because I'm not an expert in electromagnetic technology, or I'm not a doctor. I can only speak about what I see in the news and offer my opinions. And while I agree with you, there are concerns about 5G. I think if you put a hot dog in a microwave for even 2 minutes, it explodes all over the inside. So I can't imagine that 5G is going to do that to all of us, or the first 17 minutes it's out, everybody would be dead. So I think there are dangers and risks to any new technology. I want to know more about 5G just as a, thinking to myself kind of person. I find it difficult to imagine that the exposure to 5G could reduce so many people's immune systems so quickly that it would be the cause of this. Anything is possible, of course, but I mean, the internet is itself a petri dish for ideas, and sometimes good ones flourish and sometimes not so good ones flourish. There are a lot of people who are very skeptical of 5G, and that's healthy skepticism, but I'm very reluctant to believe theories that pop up on the internet unless they have firm evidence to back them. And I think we do have firm evidence that biological weapons are being developed. I think that we see that this Pirbright Institute is financed by Bill Gates. And I'm not saying that they've done anything. I'm just saying those types of connections make more sense to me when we've got Bill Gates coming out and making comments about the coronavirus, and Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates are stepping in on the coronavirus. I mean, these guys are basically, software dickheads, in my opinion. I don't think sorry if that's not something I'm supposed to say on the radio, but why are these guys the champions of the world who know everything about everything? I mean, they're stealing our data. Look at these two guys alone. So with Mark Zuckerberg controlling what you can see and not see on Facebook, and with Bill Gates manipulating research into these things, funding companies that have genetically modified versions of them, how do we know that one individual from the Pirbright Institute or a similar type of facility didn't take something the size of a Tylenol capsule with them on an airplane to China, drop it in somebody's bat soup, and cause this pandemic so that these guys can step in with a vaccine? They look like heroes. They're philanthropists that everybody should love and trust, and go get your free vaccine and everything's great. I just don't trust the information. I'm very skeptical of what we're being told. Whether 5G had anything to do with it or not, I don't know. I'm just as skeptical of some of the 5G critics as I am of the people pushing the 5G. Obviously, companies want us to have it, so you buy a new cell phone and they can put up new towers and they have something new to sell to you.
Right. I strongly suggest you do some more research on the 5G because it is something that I am very passionate about. The studies are out there, and there's over 20,000 studies that have been done on 5G, but no one wants to talk about it. And you take your cell phone now and it's got one antenna, and a 5G cell phone, it will then have hundreds of antennas on it, and the exposure, the 5G towers will have to be 500 feet apart from each other because it has a short wavelength versus what the 4G and the 3G have. So not only is it going to be frying our brains, in my words, but our cities are going to be ugly. We're going to have these towers that are right in our backyards. They have to be in our churches and our schools, and they're good. Even my city right now is deciding whether it's okay to be within 25 feet of my home.
Wow.
And it's going to be an eyesore, let alone the damage it's going to be doing. And maybe our heads won't explode like we were in a microwave for 17 minutes. But the amount of headaches and autoimmune disease and gut issues and brain fog that will be happening, it will be out of control. And if people think they're suffering from those things right now, just from their diets and vaccines and toxins and the Roundup that's in our food, it's going to be taken to a whole nother level. So I highly recommend, regardless of where people sit on the 5G, debate, do your research. Do we really need a faster internet speed? I mean, I'm watching what you're doing. You're pulling things up quicker than my brain can work. So why do we need the internet working faster than our brain? And right now, our brains can't even keep up with the frequencies that we are being exposed to already with the internet and our cell phones and the smart meters. So it's already faster. And that's what the cause is, I believe, of such anxiety, depression, and all of the brain diseases, is our brains are trying to keep up with the frequencies that we're being exposed to.
I definitely agree that there is a lot that remains to be learned about 5G. There's a lot that remains to be learned about the brain and human health in general. And I'm not saying there's nothing to worry about with 5G. I think every technology has benefits and risks. I mean, certainly the automobile, it's fantastic if you want to go to the supermarket or visit your family or leave your home, but it is producing dangerous, toxic chemicals as it drives around, and we've been filling up the earth with that stuff for 100 years. So I have a feeling there were probably a lot of people at the time that the automobile was being introduced that didn't want it, thought it was too dangerous. Why do we need to race around everywhere at 50 miles an hour? Horses are fast enough. And I'm not trying to argue. I just want to present a counterpoint that when it comes to technology and computer technology, I remember when I was pretty young and had a computer, and then the new, faster version came out, I said to my father, "Ooh, we need a new computer." He was like, "Are you crazy? We just bought this one. What do you need a faster computer for? Where are you going?" I want to just remind people who maybe aren't that computer oriented that these increases in speed, increases in network bandwidth, memory storage, processing capacity, they aren't about just going faster or doing things faster. When we have dramatic increases in computer power, it enables new applications that you and I, Sarah, frankly, right now can't even envision. Applications that could save people's lives, that could make things happen that can't happen today. So I don't want to say that any particular technology or thing is all bad and should be completely shut down. I think there's a lot more we need to learn about 5G. I think there's a lot more we need to learn about human health, about what causes some of these conditions. And I think there's no doubt that so many people are bombarded with harmful electromagnetic energy, harmful chemicals in the air, harmful chemicals in the food. I don't know why they're not declaring a national emergency about the chemicals that are being sprayed on our food and the amount of horrible, deadly stuff we're being exposed to in that regard. But this virus is suddenly a worldwide emergency.
Absolutely. And it saddens me that we are out of time, Jason. I can't believe how quickly that went. But I want really quickly, can you tell people where they can find you? And we're definitely doing this again if you're up for it, because there's so much more to talk about. But where can people find you?
People can find my show on subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. We have a subscription model where people who sponsor the show get access to a really huge library of exclusive videos that only sponsors can see. And of course on YouTube, on Facebook, on Patreon, got distracted from a text right there. We're on basically every social media platform and people can catch us there. YouTube is one of the best ways to see the show. And Sarah, thank you so much for having me on your radio show. You and I have now done so many great interviews together. People can go back and watch all of those.
Wonderful, and we will definitely do this again. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And if I can personally help you with your health issues, you can contact me directly through my website or Sara at acceleratedhealthproducts.com. I'm happy to put together a protocol for you specifically. I know sometimes it's hard to know where to start, and you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram under Accelerated Health Products, and my YouTube channel under Accelerated Health Radio, and this show will be up there soon. You can also find me on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitcher, Pandora, or whatever podcast platform you subscribe to. I'm now also doing Accelerated Health Bites, where I do short informational videos about health topics and solutions that you ask me about. So if you have a health condition or a topic you want me to address, let me know. And if you like what you heard today, please hit the subscribe button and share this with a few people that may need our help. As you share my channel, it helps me help more people like you and bring more cutting edge guests like Jason on my show. Don't miss next week's interview with Elle Russ from the Paleo Thyroid Solution. Most people have some sort of thyroid disease or slow metabolism, so this one is not to miss. And please send me your questions, topics, what you want to hear. You can find the supplements and many informational videos on the website, acceleratedhealthproducts.com. And you can use the coupon code Goodman15 for today's show for your first order. And thanks again for joining us on Accelerated Health Radio. Have a great week.